Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the programme tonight, the Supreme Court gives no relief to CBI Director Ranjit Sinha, who's under fire for meeting with accused in various cases that his agency is investigating at his home. While his lawyer has argued that the details of those he met are a violation of his privacy, has the CBI Director's position become untenable? Should he in fact step down? Also, Rahul Gandhi goes after the Prime Minister today, says he's playing drums in Japan while there's no electricity here at home. With the Congress's Gen Next also coming out in Rahul's support at this time, has the Congress leader finally sprung to life? That's in about 30 minutes from now. But first, the Supreme Court today turned down the plea of CBI Director Ranjit Sinha to gag the media from carrying news stories on documents that show how he met various accused in cases that are being probed by the CBI at his official Delhi residence. Mr. Sinha's lawyers have argued that this is a violation of his right to privacy, but the court turned that down. The director now is in the centre of a major storm after it emerged that he met with even the 2G accused.
CBI Chief Ranjit Sinha under fire, refusing to answer questions about his meetings with several of the accused in the telecom scam. The CBI chief, in fact, asked the Supreme Court to intervene and restrain the media, saying that ongoing discussions and leaks would cause irreparable damage. And while the top court did not pass any order gagging the media, it has asked senior lawyer Prashant Bhushan to go ahead and file an affidavit bringing on record all documents, including the controversial visitors logbook. The NGO Centre for Public Interest Litigation had created a controversy when it brought forward an alleged visitor's diary of the CBI director's residence, which showed details of visits by several accused in the 2G trial, with the CBI chief at his official home.
The CBI director, after all, is also a human being. He could be having his friends also. Some of these people who may be accused may be also his friends from before. And if there is no question of his in any manner interfering with any of the trials which is going on or investigation which is going on, then where is the question of any impropriety in this?
Director of CBI has to maintain certain different standards.
Prashant Bhushan's NGO today filed another petition in the Supreme Court, asking Ranjit Sinha to be removed from the Colgate investigation. By the evening, Mr. Sinha told reporters that he would recuse himself if the court ordered. While Sinha's lawyer has accused the NGO of deliberately trying to damage the CBI's credibility, the NGO has accused Sinha of trying to derail the investigation. The court will now hear this matter on Monday. With Arunachalam Vaidyanathan in New Delhi, Siddharth Pandey for NDTV.
Well, has the CBI director's position then become untenable? He says that he will step down and recuse himself, at least from the Colgate investigation, if that is indeed what the court asks him to do. But has his position as director now come into serious question? Joining us tonight is Mr. Sinha's lawyer, Vikas Singh. You saw him in the story there. He joins us this evening from Delhi. Senior advocate Sanjay Hegde is back in the studio with us. Aarti Jairat, senior commentator and journalist. Lalita Kumaramanglam, spokesperson of the BJP. And Mr. Joginder Singh, the former director of the CBI, also with us tonight. Mr. Vikas Singh, I'd like to ask you first, there seem to be different versions that have come out from your side since this controversy broke about these documents that have now come into public domain. We heard Mr. Sinha first say that they were fake. Then he did admit that he had, some of these meetings. Now, what really is the story at the end of the day? Are you conceding that these are genuine diary entries? Are you contesting the number of meetings people may have had with him? Or are you saying that there are fake entries? What is the final picture?
Yes, the final picture is that there are only 2 registers being maintained at the CBI director's residence, and this is not either of the 2. So this is not any register which is being maintained at the director's residence. If at all it is something, it is a private register which probably has been maintained for the benefit of Mr. Prashant Bhushan only. So that's the official position. So to that extent, this register is fake. In that sense, it is fake, because it is not something which is made in the usual course of business or in the usual course of the the staff that is posted there at the CBI director's residence. And even if you see the register, you will realize that there are entries, like for instance there are entries of 8:18, 9:30, and the names are all blank. So, and there is an in time, out time. So there are no signatures. There is no signature of the person entering. There is no signature of the person making the register. If you go to the director's residence today and find out and want to see that register, there is no such register there at all for anybody to see.
But Mr.
So
Sinha is not denying that he had meetings with various accused.
Yeah, no, that's
cases.
a separate point.
Now,
that's a separate point. So there is no inconsistency on what Mr. Sinha or what I have said from the beginning in the matter. That's a completely separate point. The separate point is that as a supervisory officer, much is being made out of these meetings. These meetings, whether they took place or not, you should realize that he's got 3 offices in Delhi, one at his residence, one at the CBI headquarters and one at the North Block. For whatever reason, he may meet anybody at any place. Now, what Mr. Prashant Bhushan wants is that if he meets anybody to do with the investigation, then he should meet that person along with the IO. So that means virtually he wants the IO to keep a check on the director rather than the director keeping a check on the IO. So if that's the level of allegations, I really don't know how any organization can function in this country.
No, but,
the CBI director is the highest supervisory officer of the organization.
But why should the CBI director, when there is an investigating officer in a particular case, why should the CBI director be meeting people who are accused in cases, people who are being investigated by his officers at his official residence? I believe there's one report that also suggested today that he's never had official CBI meetings at that residence, which you say today also houses an office. Why should he? I mean, there are records here, as per what is available in public domain, that there are some people that he has met some 70 times. There are a number of entries which show that he has met accused a number of times, and he goes on to say that yes, for instance, about officials from the Reliance Group, yes, I've met them, I know them for the last 30 years, so what? This is what he has told one newspaper. Then he says, well, meeting people who have a grievance against officers of the CBI is part of my duty. Why should I not meet them? Are they terrorists? Why should he be meeting people who have grievances against the CBI, who are accused, who are being investigated by the CBI?
Can I add something?
Well, today the Reliance company is an accused in this sense. But does that mean that Mr. Anil Ambani can't meet anybody in the government anywhere? Is it what you're trying to suggest? I'll tell you, the meetings that happen by the CBI director, he's got an office at his residence. I don't know which meeting, or because these datas which have been sort of procured by Mr. Bhushan are not authentic data, so one can't comment on them. But the very fact that there are some accused persons and he has met, I'll tell you, the role of a police officer in any organization is that the higher officer is always performing a supervisory role. And if you see the CRPC, every higher officer actually exercises the power of the investigating officer in the area in which the higher officer has jurisdiction. So from that sense, actually the director CBI is the investigating officer in that sense, by necessary implication as provided in the CRPC
I'm going to take what
for
you
the
said.
entire country.
I'm going to take what you said to Mr. Joginder Singh, who's been in that position as director of the CBI. Mr. Singh, you've heard Mr. Vikas Singh's defense there of Mr. Ranjit Sinha. As a former CBI director, do you believe that Ranjit Sinha acted with propriety? Do you think he did the right thing?
No, I won't comment on any individual, but I would say here, there are more, half a dozen supervisory officers about the investigating officer who can be an inspector or DSP. That is what the CBI Act says here. His work is supervised by the Subunda police, in charge of that case, by the DIG, by the IG, and additional or special director. Director comes finally. Whatever may be said here, I won't comment on either Mr. Vikas Singh or Ranjit, who's worked under me, but the fact remains that if you go on meeting the accused person, this means you are bypassing your entire hierarchy. Second thing is, right or wrong, an impression will go around that even if on merit the case is closed, okay, look, they met the director, and then this is the result what they have got here. Not only that, people will talk loosely about it, so you have to be doubly careful, not only about your integrity but also appear that yes, you will meet, but bring everything in writing. It will be passed on. There is a chain of people. I also used to get a lot of representations. I invariably passed on to the additional director, or Joint Director, I said, see and let me know the factual position. Result was that we trapped our own DSPs and inspectors accepting illegal gratification. Some of them were not even promoted. So, point is here that it's also a question of appearances here. And secondly, I agree with Mr. Vikas Singh. At least 2 offices I had, but I never held any meeting in my house except the social meeting, that also once or twice, when Secretary General of the Interpol came and I gave him a dinner. Otherwise, there is no question of meeting any private individual. You will realize that once you leave the office, all the so-called friends of 30, 40 years will forget you. They won't even take your call. So
I think the only thing is there, sir. You made some very, very important points there. I'll take that to Sanjay Hegde. That is then Mr. Ranjit Sinha's position now highly compromised?
Well, that is obvious, because ultimately, like the judicial function, the investigatory function also, perceptions matter. Justice should not only be done but be seen to be done. Similarly, a fair investigation must not only be done but must be seen to be done. You remember in the riots there used to be a very popular slogan, "Andar ki baat hai, police hamare saath hai." Now that is the perception which goes about if an accused is seen accessing the director of the organization at all points of time and continuously at his house. Mr. Joginder Singh knows the working, and he's put on record the entire hierarchy. Now, if you bypass the hierarchy, go directly to the top and go frequently to the top, the perception is that you may not be able to trust that investigation. After all, what is the question before the Supreme Court? The question before the Supreme Court is there a fair investigation of the 2G scam or the Colgate scam? And to that extent, this conduct becomes very relevant.
No, and there are actually two points that come out from what you have said. I'll take that back to Vikas Singh briefly. Mr. Singh, as per the Indian Express, which has detailed what it has seen in these diary entries, for instance, you have Mr. Mahendra Nahata, the promoter of Himachal Futuristic Communications, listed as among the alleged beneficiaries of the 2G scam, who's gone on record to say that I'm a family friend of Mr. Sinha's. I've known him for 20 years. I have met him as a friend. I'll continue to meet him as a friend. Though the diary lists 71 meetings between him in a certain period of time and Mr. Sinha. Do you deny that those meetings have happened? What about Moin Qureshi, who has reported to have visited the CBI director's house 70 times between 2013 and 2014, including days when he visited the residence twice and was also accompanied by his wife? Do you deny that those meetings took place between Moin Qureshi and Mr. Nahata?
The question of denial will come first if there is a proper allegation. The allegation is based upon a diary which is completely unsubstantiated and which has been made only for the purpose of being used by Mr. Prashant Bhushan. So there is no question of any denial.
So Moin Qureshi didn't meet Ranjit Sinha 70 times?
As far as Nahata or Mr. Qureshi is concerned, the only thing you can say against the director would be if there is any allegation that there was a case against Mr. Nahata which the director has closed, then you can link up this meeting to say that this meeting has been used to close that case. But if you are actually a friend, as Mr. Nahata is claiming to be, then if there is any case which comes to Mr. Sinha for his decision, at that stage he should recuse himself if he feels that he is so close to him.
Well, yeah, it's an obvious conflict of interest then.
As far as Mr. Nahata's...
It's an obvious conflict of interest then. It's an obvious conflict of interest. If they are such great friends, then should the CBI under Mr. Ranjit Sinha be investigating Mr. Nahata?
No, that means the CBI director, whoever are his friends, should not be investigated by CBI at all. Are you trying to suggest that?
No, then the CBI director should recuse himself. Why is he the head of the CBI then? If his accused friends are all coming to visit him.
Nidhi, I am asking you, is there any allegation that Mr. Sinha has tried to close any case of either Mr. Nahata?
Well, there is an allegation that he tried to dilute the case against Reliance, ADAG, in the 2G case. Yes, there was a controversy about that last month.
No, you are jumping to Reliance now. Now you are
Yeah.
jumping to Reliance. Now
Yeah.
let me answer Reliance.
That
Let me answer
accusation was
Reliance.
there.
As far as Reliance is concerned, under the Bar Council rules, it is provided that anything which is favorable to the accused is also to be put in trial, because the accused should get a complete fair trial, because our criminal justice system operates on the premise that every person is innocent till proved to be guilty. Now, there was an opinion by the Law Ministry. If that opinion of the Law Ministry were to be taken, then the charge sheet, the entire basis of the charge sheet is not correct. Now, if this opinion was only being placed for the consideration of the court, then you are only doing what the Supreme Court mandates the prosecution to do, that is, that you bring all facts to the notice of the court and let the court take a call as to whether the person is guilty or no. Let me
People
complete.
will raise
Let me complete
questions.
this.
If Mr. Sinha is going to
No,
be
let me
meeting
complete
Reliance Telecom
this.
officials at his residence and say that I've known them for 30 years, they're my friends, you know, I'm not going to stop meeting them, and then he's going to say to the special public prosecutor that you should, there are new facts that have emerged that contradict the charge sheet. That's the problem. People will draw a link. Aarti Jairat,
30 years friendship you mentioned about Nahata. I am saying something else. You see every day a preventive detention or a charge sheet being quashed by the court only on the ground that the prosecution had some material favorable to the accused and which was not placed in the trial. Now, this is a classic case there. If the director is wanting that an opinion of the Law Ministry, which is there in the files of the CBI, if it should be placed before the court, then it will only help in actually getting the culpability established, because at least the court then can't say that, look here, there was something favorable, you deliberately withheld that to get the, the person convicted.
You had the special public
it is not the
prosecutor
job
actually
of the
disagreeing
prosecutor.
strongly with the CBI director and shooting off a letter to him saying
that
that the
was the end
CBI
of the
shouldn't
matter.
do this again.
So
He
that
saw it
was-
as a blatant interference.
so that was-
that time too, Mr. Sinha's conduct came into question. I'm just saying that those people will draw that, you know, make that correlation, because if he's meeting people at his residence and then suggesting that, you know, there is new evidence to suggest that, you know, this is contrary to what we have filed so far, it looks a little fishy. It may not be. You may be right, but the perception is a problem.
If my
Aarti, sir,
Yeah.
just
No,
one
no,
moment.
but if-
Aarti,
Yeah, you know, I think Mr. Vikas
this is a
Singh.
huge political story.
No, absolutely. I think Mr. Vikas Singh is getting into
One second,
legalese.
Aarti Jairat here.
He's getting into legalese and, you know, trying to divert the whole issue here. Look, the point is that, okay, the CBI director has a supervisory role, but I don't think that supervisory role means that he is supposed to meet the accused. He is supposed to supervise the investigation by the IOs. That does not, you know, involve
means there
meeting
is
the
a
accused.
complaint by
I'm
somebody
sorry.
is not supposed
No,
to do
I'm
this.
sorry, Mr. Vikas Singh. The CBI director has to keep aloof. If he wants to remain an objective figure and retain his integrity, he has to keep aloof.
So
The
that means he has to
investigating
sit
of-
in his office and do nothing and let everybody do
No,
whatever
not
they
at
want
all.
to
Who
do.
says do nothing? Does that mean that
No,
he has
no,
to
no.
go out
It
into
is
the
not-
field
it
and
is
find
not
out
that
what
we
is
were
going
sitting
on?
idly
and doing
This
nothing.
is not, you
If-
know,
Sorry.
how low have our
I
standards
don't agree with
fallen?
this comment.
You know, how low have our ethics fallen? Don't we have any standards anymore?
Exactly. If I could
I mean, I
carry on,
think
if
this
I
is
could carry
terrible.
on,
This is
Aarti.
public life.
Yeah, I just want to bring Lalita Kumaramangam here briefly, because Lalita, the question really then we're asking is whether the CBI director can stay on. And we heard the law minister today, you know, questioning his conduct in all of this. We know that the BJP in the past has spoken out when it was in opposition about his conduct under the UPA, but now there are very serious question marks that have been raised in what has emerged in the last few days. Can he continue?
Yes, I quite
No,
agree
can I
with
add
you that
something,
there have been
Nidhi?
several questions raised. But now that the matter is sub judice and our Attorney General has made it very clear to the court that any questions that will be asked of the government, we will reply commensurately and we will also cooperate fully. But especially as it is sub judice, being the spokesperson of the party that is in government, it's not proper for me to, you know, say yes or no, right or wrong. It's quite obvious that there could be allegations of wrongdoing, and certainly it seems as if that some protocol has not been adhered to. But since it has gone to court, insofar as the BJP is concerned, we will cooperate fully with whatever the court asks of us or from us. And it's now left to the courts to decide, because once it's sub judice, it's not correct of me to, you know, just shoot my mouth off. When you're in government, one has to
Nidhi,
hold your horses sometimes.
Okay.
It's true that in the past the BJP has questioned his conduct.
Yeah. Yes.
But and as you've already said, our law minister has made his statement. So I don't think I need to add to it. But let me reiterate again that whatever is asked from the court, the BJP will reply absolutely fully, and we will cooperate 100%.